Scores of people have been arrested in Diepsloot, north of Johannesburg. Disgruntled residents say that they believe the high number of undocumented foreign nationals in the area is to blame for the increase in crime. Police Minister Bheki Cele visited the area today and promised to deploy extra officers on the ground from tonight. Cele's department says that they'll release a detailed report tomorrow. Now, several roads in the area are currently blocked off with burning tyres and rocks. All right, for a little bit more on this, our reporter on the ground is Mbali. Thank you so much indeed for joining us, Mbali. It's been quite a day where you are. Just bring us up to speed as the events that unfolded today.
Good evening, Peter. Yes, indeed. Residents did take to the streets. You saw angry residents filling up this entire street, picketing and protesting outside the entrance and the main gate of this police station, calling for it to be recapacitated in order to meet the needs of residents. The calls came after an incident that took place over the weekend where more than 7 people died and some were injured over the weekend. This then prompted angry residents to come and call for better services from this police station, which then prompted the Minister of Police, together with the police commissioner, to come here and make promises to somewhat add more vehicles for the police station and deploy tactical police officers on the ground to ensure that residents' needs or concerns are resolved and that they are then able to feel safe in the area. You will understand that, there are concerns regarding issues of criminal elements such as rape and so on, and murders. Some residents complaining about the fact that, some of the crimes are so heinous, and the manner in which some people are murdered is somewhat merciless. This was the account of one resident earlier here today who said that a little child was one among those who were killed, saying that, people are being killed in the most inhumane manner.
We believe people were arrested. What did they do? Who was being arrested?
Recently, after that protest that took place earlier on today, one of my camera colleagues actually chased after what looked like a Home Affairs vehicle that was on the way to do somewhat of an operation where they went out and looked and searched for the status of some of the people in this community, and they found that more than 7 people suspected of being undocumented migrants in the country were then brought in following that operation, which has led us back here at the entrance of this police station, where we are waiting for these officials to then go out all over again and see how many more people will then be arrested or brought in, rather, to be detained in order to be deported should they not be able to ascertain their status in the country. We understand that this then speaks to some of the calls that were made and that led to the clashes that we saw earlier on today between police officers and community residents who had hoped that Police Minister Bheki Cele, together with some government officials, would then go into the informal settlements and those communities and try to ascertain the status of those who are staying there. You would have heard for calls and saying that for those who are renting out their premises to undocumented migrants to answer, basically the minister saying that those who are doing that will have a case to answer to, given that, it seems as though some of those areas have been taken over by those who are renting after people who once lived in those premises got or were allocated RDP houses.
Mbali, has a link been made by some about crime, which they're concerned about, and undocumented migrants? Because sometimes that then becomes the connection that fuels all these kinds of disturbances.
Yes, indeed. So residents some were calling on undocumented migrants to be deported and to be taken out of the country. One of them using the example that should they ever go to any of the neighboring countries, they only have a limited period to be in the country or face deportation, calling on Home Affairs officials to do their work in terms of ensuring that all who are in South Africa are legally in the country, and calling on the officials to enforce all immigration laws, saying that a lack of enforcement by officials, be it law enforcement agencies or Home Affairs officials, is a result of what you see on the ground. Now, these are the things and the sentiments that have been shared by residents here, who are calling on, officials and law enforcement, the law to take its course regarding undocumented migrants who they accuse of contributing to the crime rate that seems to be skyrocketing in the area. Some of the crimes that were put on placards were issues of rape, among others.
All right, and very briefly, if you could just tell me what kind of mood is there at the moment? Is it quiet? What sense do you get?
Well, it seems quiet, and based on a conversation or an interview we did earlier on with an ANC ward councillor, who then warned that even though things might seem calmer on this side, he warned that there are some hotspots where there are residents or various groups of residents who are itching to go in and do what Operation Djuja does, where they check the status of people living in certain areas and doing a citizen's arrest and then handing them over to the police in order for those people, for the law to take its course, and for those who are found to be undocumented within the country to then be deported. So these were the concerns that this particular person has raised, saying that there are those hotspots within the community, and we saw that the response was that Home Affairs officials also came out to try and see if they cannot carry out any operations at this stage.
Mbalenhle, thank you so much indeed for joining us and giving us this update. Thanks so much indeed.